Check.
We're live.
This NFL Picks Week 5 edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog has just added Pick'em Scorchers, where you can win 100x. That's right, turn $5 into $500 in one game. Plus, every Sunday they're giving away $100,000. Use promo code SGPN at Underdog Fantasy for a 100% deposit bonus up to $500. We're also brought to you by Game Time. Snag the tickets without the stress. Use promo code SGPN on your first purchase to save $20. Download the Game Time app and use promo code SGPN. Finally, we're brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit HOFBets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today. Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, second the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog. Hot adjustment. Got to the line of scrimmage. Saw a blitz, called an audible. Yeah. And unlike some quarterbacks, got it to the guy streaking to the corner of the end zone.
Oh, who are you referring to?
That's a lot. A lot of quarterbacks in the NFL. Not happy with the film study this week.
Oh no, for the New York Giants.
The number of teams I love.
Oh, tough, Ryan. What are you more upset about? The Atlanta Falcons crashing down to reality, or your New York Giants?
That's not a serious question. You're
not being serious because
right
you are already getting ahead of
it.
You're
not being serious right now.
Okay. Yeah, I think this. I think you were pretty upset about the Falcons losing.
I don't have 6 months of mortgage payments invested in the Atlanta Falcons.
Well, yeah, and true, you don't have any Atlanta Falcons.
Oh, you want to take it to a dark place? Give me that Vic jersey. I need to get some of these losers out of here.
Yeah, you don't have any Atlanta Falcons. Maybe you can get some Atlanta Falcons gear, so when they lose to the Texans, then you can clear your locker out of the Atlanta Falcons.
I'd be careful. I'd be careful what you're speaking about over there. You're walking into the wrong neighborhood.
Oh, Ryan is on tilt.
No tilt.
Okay.
Very focused. Future thinking only. All I hear Sean over there giggling, looking at his computer, looking back into the past, looking at historical things from the past. His favorite thing to do.
I'm looking at the chat. The chat is lit. YouTube.com/Sports Gambling Podcast. Smash! That subscribe button. We've hit 9,000 subscribers. So I know there's a bunch of people watching the show right now.
Probably haven't even clicked that thumbs up yet.
Yeah, toss the thumbs up. That is easy. Subscribe. It costs you $0 freaking dollars. Helps us take down corporate gambling.
What are you too busy flipping burgers and hot dogs?
Oh, you're getting ahead to the Evan Neal.
No, that was my own thing. That was completely original. I figured a lot of these losers are too busy flipping burgers and not clicking that like button. I mean, Magic Man literally is managing a shit river.
Yes,
smashing the like button.
He doesn't. He has time for that.
Smashing the like button.
Smash! Steffi Smalls in the chat. Easy. CJ. Whole crew is checking in. Beezer picks. CJ Presley.
Oh, nice. Thought it was Man in the Box.
No. Happy birthday shout out to Man in the Box. CJ wanting to know Falcons, Saints, Bills, Chargers so far in Survivor. What y'all think for week 5? We'll stay tuned to the end of the show.
If you're watching,
because Kramer and I did a preseason episode where we mapped out our entire Survivor grid for the Circus Survivor, because Circus Survivor is a little different. They count Thanksgiving. They count Christmas Day as their own separate week. So we walk through the entire.
Get ready to screenshot your screen. Boom. That's the answer key. That's all you get.
That's all you get.
Yeah.
Even Boston Capper showed up. Was a no show. Was claiming he was going to call into our post game show after the Patriots.
It's a baby fucking wheel, man.
Got smoked. And Kramer also. We have not seen Serial in the chat since his Dallas Cowboys lost to the Arizona Cardinals. I thought maybe we would hear from him after they destroyed the Patriots, but no, he's taking an extra week off just in case. He must know what's coming against the 49ers this week.
It's not good for our listeners. That's for sure.
You know what is awesome for our listeners? Little Caesars. Love me some Little Caesars. Little Caesars, of course, is the official pizza of the NFL. Love some delicious Little Caesars. Goes down so smooth. Perfect. Just perfect combo for game day. I don't know what you're doing on Sunday. I'm going to be going to the Eagles Rams. Maybe they got a Little Caesars down there. I hope so, because I'm going to hit that thing up. Love the pretzel crust with all that delicious pepperoni piled high. The 4-quarter calzone. And you can even get the NFL 4-quarter calzone meal deal with crazy bread and a 2-liter of Pepsi. What more do you need? That is just the perfect pregame. Ready to go. Get the cookie dough brownies. Those things are awesome. And if you don't know, Little Caesars has delivery as well as their in-store pizza portal pickup. Again, love me some Little C's. The perfect way to kick off NFL game day. So get in 1 hour before NFL games and get ready with some Little Caesars. The tastiest hour before kickoff. Kramer, we're doing it. We're here. Any?
I just got to throw something on the screen because
sure.
it made me laugh really hard. That's the vibe right now. Just kicking back, watching the show, and about to crush a Klondike bar. I assume that's not a euphemism. maybe it is, and I'm just an old guy.
Generally, if you're eating a Klondike bar we're 8:45 Pacific. I'm guessing he might not be the Pacific time zone. Either way, might be maybe a little marijuana.
It's smoking about weed.
It's part of that. I mean, are you eating a Klondike, or maybe he's just treating himself?
You don't like a little ice cream surrounded with chocolate?
I do.
Okay.
What would you do for a Klondike bar? Remember those ads?
Not much. I mean, I could go to the store and trade money for one, so not a very difficult thing. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the spirit of the advertisement.
Oh, Ryan, breaking news. Cereal is here. Sorry, fellas, been busy. Been a little busy, but he's here.
Someone must have texted him.
That Cereal, they're calling you out for not showing up in the chat.
It's like when my kid misses like they got to leave early for a sports event. I get that text that they were absent from a class. Serial got a text that he was being.
Serial's gone truant to the Week 5 NFL Pick Show.
Hey,
so
go see the officer.
Serial's here. Hope all is well, Serial, except with your Dallas Cowboys. We'll get to them later.
No, I'm so sorry for your loss,
Kramer. Let's do it.
Well, it's an electric week in the National Football League, Sean.
Yes, sir.
Couple things to update on because it feels relevant.
Okay.
One, let's remind people the Close Your Eyes special is undefeated.
3-0
ATS. Small sample size, but so far Thursday night, the mini bye means nothing. For whatever reason, short rest teams are 6-2 ATS. Back-to-back road spot, 5-8 ATS so far. Okay. And the last one, public 13-10-1 ATS, but 17-7 straight up, which tells me a lot of teasers coming home. Kind of feels like the public's had some good weeks.
Well, that's what I was trying to figure out, because last week it felt like a bad public week, but then some of the heavier public sides did well.
I think what we have to remember is like the contest pool, quote unquote public, is a little sharper than the average public. According to our data, the public was 5-4 last week, ATS, but 7-2 straight up. So again, it feels like maybe we're due for one of those tweets about how much money the books made.
Oh, right. Why are you putting that energy out there?
Well, because we're going to be on the right side of it. Our listeners aren't the public, Sean. They got the DGen University mug. They're going to class. They're getting better. They're getting smarter. Getting those credits up. I mean, honestly, like if we got to make the certificate nice enough, it probably could pass as a proper degree. You just hang it in your office. Just put it in cursive so it's a little harder to read. All right. Yeah, and the last thing, Sean, I think we were shocked at how many teams underperformed the spread back in week 3 or 4, or sorry, 2 or 3. But 7 teams underperformed the spread by 21 points last week.
Yeah, and wait, how many qualify for the close your eyes special?
3.
Okay. Some are close, right? Because they're sitting at the 1 point spread, and
3 are very close.
Ryan, you mentioned DGen University. Shout out to Shane, last week's winner of the Patreon Pick'em contest. I went to give him his DGen University prize pack. He said, "Sorry, not sorry. I already have the DGen University sweatshirt." So we took care of him with the sweet gift card. So we are running it back. DGen University mug and hoodie. The hoodie is super comfortable. And I'm rocking this badass mug. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon to get in on the weekly picks. Kramer, let's do it.
TNF on Thursday night, Sean. We gotta. I mean, this is the part of the season where we start to wonder, when will they flex the first Thursday night game? Chicago heads to the nation's capital, aka Landover, Maryland, or wherever they play. Washington, the Commanders for now. -6, -265 on the money line. Bears +215, 44.5 is the total. If the Bears had any life, it got murdered in the second half last week by Sean Payton, Russ Wilson, and the Denver Broncos. Matt Eberflus. I mean, has he not just skyrocketed to the top of the first coach to be fired market? I'll have to pull that up. Yeah,
wasn't he? I feel like he was a decent price to begin with.
He was close, but how he isn't the top guy now. I mean, this is an organization that's talking about moving out of Chicago, building a dome. Like they're completely losing their minds. So
right now. I mean, how could they not be looking ahead to the future right now? If the season ended today, they would have the number 1 and the number 2 overall pick. So they're probably salivating, thinking of Caleb Williams, thinking how much they messed up this Justin Fields pick.
How bad are they gonna mess up Caleb Williams?
Oh,
is it the city or the quarterback?
That would be funny because Caleb Williams has thrown out the idea, hey, I may stick around in college a little bit more. It would be hilarious if he passed on being drafted by the Chicago Bears. Like, hey, I talked to some of the former, talked to our buddy Jim McMahon. He said, don't do it. Don't pull the trigger.
Quote, I can make more money in college than I would in my first year in the NFL.
I hear when college players say that, but you do realize getting that first year means you're getting that much closer to the second contract where you're going to get paid an ungodly amount. So you have more leverage than you previously had. But let's not kid ourselves. The $250 million guaranteed deals like Deshaun Watson or these hundreds of multi-million-dollar deals.
What's the number?
What do you mean?
You're a college kid.
Yeah.
What's the number?
Oh, that he would stay?
Yeah.
I think Caleb Williams, just rough estimate, I think he could get 10 million.
I'm with you. I think there's 2 things in play here. One, getting the contract that is going to be bigger than whatever your 1 year of college is. Before you potentially get hurt. A.
Yes.
B. I think I would be surprised. I mean, it would have to be over 10 million, but who knows? I mean, a guy like that, is he big enough with endorsements and everything like that? Why would Caleb Williams not be on the same national endorsements that, any quarterback in the NFL is doing? You know what I mean? So maybe it works. That would be pretty funny. I mean, you got to be a pretty sad person if Caleb Williams decides to stay in college and not go play for your team.
But
that would be a new low.
But you are.
I did see the Giants were on the list. It made me feel
you are delaying a year of that that you have to get in the NFL to get to that second
100%.
So I think
I'm with you.
I think they're saying that to kind of bluff and maybe give themselves some options, but I think they're kind of full of shit.
It's great leverage though. You got to say
it's at least more leverage than they previously had.
Lonzo Ball parenting, genius.
I'll be honest. Let's start at the top here. I cannot trust this Commanders team as a favorite this big. What are we talking about?
And they're the public side. I didn't even get that far, but I think it's something like 72% of the bets on the Commanders. Which I get it. The Bears could be dead. They might be completely dead. That's the risk of betting the Bears here.
But you look at Justin Fields when he played a shitty defense, he actually looked competent. And the Commanders, The Commanders' defense is really bad. 25th in fantasy points allowed to the receivers. They've looked really rough. I think Ron Rivera, even if they are winning, he likes to play it safe. He likes to play it conservative. I mean, look at the Arizona Cardinals came in. They were 7-point dogs. And they were Commanders are lucky to get that win. The Redskins are coming off an overtime game.
Yeah,
that's
a big take. I mean,
as analytical Ron said, they were gassed after that last drive to score. Didn't even have enough in their tank to attempt a 2-point conversion. Sam Howell, Ryan, this is crazy. Sam Howell's been sacked a league high 24 times this season, and that's even and you're going head to head with a guy who was recently sacked 11 times.
Well, the fact that the Redskins have a worse adjusted sack rate on their offensive line than the Giants.
Yeah. Who gave up 11 sacks.
That doesn't seem possible based on what my eyes have seen. It does not seem possible. The Commanders have had offense that has looked functional.
Yes.
Giants have not. How is that? The data does not map the eye test right now.
We always talk about how David Carr, they played him too soon. All those sacks broke him. How many sacks did David Carr have in 2002 to essentially break him and set the NFL record for sacks?
You're going to tell me that Howell's crushing that pace,
destroying that pace right now. Not even including the 17 game. Yeah. What do you think his David Carr record was?
All right. So 16 games. What would be a lot? 5, 6. I mean, was he sacked 100 times?
76 times.
That's all.
Yes.
Okay, so less than 5 times a game.
Yeah, and he already has 24.
So that is old school. I mean, I remember back in the days when the sack totals used to be 4.
Yeah.
Back when the game was slower and the clock ran longer. But Sean,
they're coming off a game where they only allowed 5, so below their average. And they're still at 24.
You can't really talk yourself into a dysfunctional organization on a short week. Can you?
Oh yeah, I'm on Chicago here. Are you talking dysfunctional organization on a short week? Are you talking about Washington or Chicago?
How is Washington just played one of the best teams in the NFL? Pretty close. Granted, it's what they always did.
Played. I mean, they were down like 20 points agast the Denver Broncos.
But they can't. You're not going to give them credit for that comeback, then.
Yeah, but also they. No, I'm not.
Really? I mean, you got to be for certainly.
That was the division game.
What?
The Eagles and the Commanders. They always get up for that game.
I'm saying I'm giving them credit. You're saying they were down to the Broncos, but they also came back against the Broncos.
Yeah.
And so they're certainly going to be able to move the ball against the Bears. And so you're essentially betting on Justin Fields being able to move the ball against the Washington Commanders.
Yes.
A team that is, if not anything else, they should have a decent, they should be able to slow down their running game, thus putting it all on Justin Fields' arm. So you're willing to take Justin Fields' arm in this game.
I don't know if they're going to be able to slow down their running game. I think their defense is pretty bad.
I think the strength of the defense is the defensive line, and I think it's going to be able to have its way with the Chicago.
You're laying 6 with Washington.
I think I have to.
Oh wow! I thought you were going to take. I thought you give this whole speech about how you're not going to be the public side.
No. I think there's time. Obviously, there's time.
Oh, okay.
The public is hitting, and there's obviously times where I'm not too concerned about that because I just can't bet the bet. If this was 7, I think we're having a different conversation. Maybe then I can talk myself into the
That's
Bears.
the trick. Because they know if you're 7, you're going to take Chicago. They need you to take the Commanders, right?
Actually, it's already been to 7, and it's back.
Yep.
So
Sharp's got the 7s.
They got all the 7s, and they're going to tell you about it when the game falls 6 later in the week.
I think. I mean, talking to Colby, he was saying, "Oh, maybe I'll put the Redskins in Survivor."
No. Oh no!
Like,
What?
You can't do that.
No.
You can't do that.
You can't do that.
You don't need to do that.
But I will lay the points because I do think we've seen both Washington have the ability to look good against bad defenses. Check. They've also had their defense at times look okay and look competent. So maybe when they're not playing the very, very good Philadelphia Eagles, they'll look a little different. Again,
the way I'm looking at it is completely different. Redskins are bad when they have expectations. 10-26 against the spread as home favorites of more than 4 since 2000.
That again, that's a lot of years. That's a lot of bad quarterbacks. A lot.
Not like Sam Howell.
No. But a lot of different bad quarterbacks.
Okay.
In this case, I don't see how you can take this bet. You're confidently betting that Justin Fields can move the ball with his arm, and I can't make that bet.
And I think Commanders turn the ball over.
All right. Remember that turnover at the end of the game last week for Justin Fields? What? It's also a spicy, by the way. You take that Justin Fields higher than a half fumble over on underdog, Sean. You get a little spicy odds with that one. So you want to get that pepper in your ticket, boost up that parlay. All right, let's have PSA. We're waking up early again, Sean. We got London. It's the middle game of a 3-game stretch overseas for all of us. I think we got some Germany games after that, but the times might be a little bit different there. Jags stay in London, but they're a road team here against the Buffalo Bills. Fun fact, Sean, first time in the history of the world that the Jacksonville Jaguars are a road team in London. Crazy, because I think it's their 10th game, maybe their 11th game. I think it's their 10th game. Buffalo obviously going to be the public side after that game last week, catching 87% of the bets. They're also looking ahead to Daddy Dable.
You guys are
Daddy Dable. On
you and
deck.
The graphics team had some fun. No one is looking ahead.
Well,
to
all
the
right,
Giants.
let me finish. But thank you for interrupting. It's really awesome graphic. I mean, his head's very fat. Bills laying 5.5, which is a point up on the look ahead from last week. Minus 230 on the money line. Jags plus 190. 48.5 is the total. Obviously, from like a spot perspective, this is the only thing I have to ask you, Sean, because obviously fading the Bills coming off that game. I'm saying obviously a lot is what you're saying. Obviously, Jags is staying there, good or bad?
I think it's good. We have no data to base this on, but how could it not be good? You don't have to take an international trip. Like there's no way it can't be helpful to not be used to the time zone, used to the water. You got your stomach adjusted to that shitty food. Like
you've been there for a week eating that shitty food.
There's no way in my mind hanging out in England, London, whatever they're calling it these days, for a week is going to hurt you. We don't have a large sample size. This is the first time it's ever happened where a team has stayed over there for back-to-back weeks, but I think they got a little bit of momentum. They got themselves settled. The Bills, this is a really tough situation spot for the Bills coming off a massive win. Everyone's saying the Bills are back, baby. Smash the full. It would be. Hopefully, we get some Bills fans jumping through tables across the pond.
May I interrupt, because I actually did look into this for Bills fans.
Oh, thank you.
They're playing at Tottenham Stadium there, and right attached to the stadium, basically, there is a store. I believe it's called Argos, and for €65, you can get a folding table. And they have plenty in stock. It said.
Okay, because they're going.
I set it up a DoorDash for today, and it said it could be there in an hour. So,
all right, if you're a Bills fan listening to this podcast and you're going to the London game, table on us.
Oh, whoa! Do you know the exchange rate, Sean?
Yeah, it's not going to be good. Right. Email us podcast@sportsgamblingpodcast.com. We will buy you a folding table to jump through. And feel free, Adi, to clip this and post this on the Bills subreddit, because one of those crazy bastards will get after it. I think this game is going to be somewhat close. I think 5.5 is too much. Cam Robinson, the Jags left tackle, who was out for 4 games due to PD suspension, he's back.
What was he doing last week while the team was over there?
Just sightseeing.
You think he traveled early?
That's a good question. There's a lot to do in jolly old England there. And the Bills have looked great. Their defense has played well. Josh Allen looked dialed in, but again, we have not seen back-to-back games with Josh Allen where he doesn't have a turnover. Didn't have a turnover last game. That means he's due for a turnover this game. Zay Jones sounds like he might be back. That really helps open up the offense. This is just a massive letdown spot for the Bills. The Jags, if anything, they were maybe looking ahead past the Falcons for this game. They still got the win against the Falcons. I think they're going to be laser focused on this Bills team. This is a good spot for the Jags. I think they're frisky here, catching the 5.5, maybe even on the money line, Ryan.
And so, yeah, I mean, I kind of was like closing my eyes and visualizing in the NFL last night to avoid thinking about the Giants. And this was one where, so basically you're saying that because the Jags aren't going to be able to slow down the Bills. So you're basically, when you're taking the Jags, you're saying that they're going to keep up in a shootout because maybe the Buffalo secondary is a little banged up.
Well, I think, yeah.
And a couple key turnovers, maybe the slippery grass over in England causes Josh Allen to do some Josh Allen things.
Yes. And I just think the amount of focus, how laser focused they were against that Dolphins thing, I think having to take this trip after a massive win, I think it's going to be tough to bring that same level of focus. And I think in particular, the Bills really knew how to play Miami. Like they really knew what they were doing with the motion. They really knew how to get into his head. I think they had really good game plan against. And I think they don't know the Jags as well. I think it's going to be a little tougher to prepare for this Jags team.
62,850 seats in this stadium. I have a feeling if you go look around the Bills subreddit and you tell me if it doesn't seem like there's a lot of people going to this game. I think this could feel like a Buffalo home game. And the more that I watch this NFL season, the more that I realize that I think they might be like whatever is happening in Buffalo. And I hate that it's ruining my Daboll take, and maybe that scaffolding.
Maybe Daboll was the problem. Maybe they finally passed Daboll off to the Giants.
Yeah. That scaffolding could be tumbling down rapidly right now. Like building 7, shout out to Pete Carroll. But I wonder if something has been unlocked in Josh Allen. Cause what I will say is I don't know in the games where Josh Allen has looked really good, what have those defenses all allowed him to do? Make the wide open pass to the wide open guy because they're just sitting back. And I don't think Jacksonville is going to play any differently. And so I guess we can think maybe they do something different and maybe them being there. Here's what I'll also tell you. I went deep on this one too. And I apologize for taking long here, but they're looking for like more than just games over here. They had a partnership with the Wembley Stadium that's ending soon. They plan on looking to lock down a lot of quote business dealings during this week over there. I wonder how much the players have had to do shit that isn't football. I wonder how much random promotion stuff, random team trying to establish themselves in London stuff, whatever they call that. I know you're making a face right now, but Sean, there are absolutely data points to suggest that they're trying, like the Jags are trying to do more than just play 2 football games in London. So I do wonder if there were distractions. So yeah, give me the Bills. I'm staying chalky 2x right here.
It's a great start as someone who predicted, hey, the chalk is going to
have a bad
day.
There are a lot of options, right? Obviously, we're never going to have something go undefeated. All right, let's go. 10 a.m. regular time football, which by the way, this week, Sean, instead of doing 9 early games, 3 late games, we do have some buys, by the way. Cleveland, the Chargers, Seattle, and the Bucks all on bye, but they only gave us 6 early games. Ugh. God's eye has 8 TVs.
Double red zone.
Houston comes in here. The Texans, they're hot. CJ Stroud looks amazing. My rookie of the year ticket feels nice right now. And even a couple weeks ago, you still could have gotten like 13-1. They are the public side here. 75% of the bets on the Texans here, +2 on the road in Atlanta, -130 for the Falcons, +110 for the Texans. 41 is the total. The obvious question is, Sean, do you know when the last time Desmond Ridder had a home loss? If you're watching on YouTube, you do know it was all the way back in 2015, Sean. And you're like, well, Desmond Ridder hasn't been around that long. What was he doing back in 2015? He was in high school. That's the last time he lost at home. In high school, not in college.
But how is he against the spread? He's 1-3 against the spread in the National Football League at home.
I couldn't find the spreads in his high school
that's
situation.
That's
but overall, he's 19-11 ATS at home as a pro and college player.
You want to talk about home records? What about our?
You asked me a question.
What about Arthur Smith? 6-12 ATS at home as a head coach. I can't back this Falcons team till they figure out a quarterback. And Desmond Ridder, to me, is not a quarterback. He
did look bad last week. Very bad.
The idea that they're just going to rely on their running game and their defense, sure, that makes sense, but the other teams know that, and the defense isn't that good that it can carry you. Like the defense for the Falcons is not. I mean, 27th the Falcons are in pass defensive DVOA. CJ Stroud has a shit ton of confidence. Ryan, you want to talk about how they've played in that stadium? CJ Stroud, last time he played in that stadium, 23 of 34, 348 yards and 4 touchdowns against Georgia, who has a lot of professional guys in the NFL. As you know, Jalen Carter, one of the best defensive tackles in the league right now, was on that team. So he was going up against some real NFL competition.
Sure. And he played a game there, but Chick-fil-A was open for that game. Sean.
Yes.
Not open for this game. When was the last, we'll do more questions. I figure you might be on the Texans. When was the last time the Texans won 3 straight games?
It's been a while, but they haven't had CJ Stroud. I was on that angle last week, and then I saw something out of CJ Stroud that I haven't seen out of a young quarterback. So hats off to you, Ryan, for being early on the CJ Stroud train.
I'm very overweight in best ball.
And Falcons are coming back from Europe without taking the bye. Only 10 times has a team returned home from Europe without going into its bye week. Every one of those teams was tied or trailing in the fourth quarter the following week.
What was the final ATS record though? I'm pretty sure it's 4-6. Inconclusive data point.
Okay.
You zoomed in too close there. You're going to burn your retinas. Look, I think the Falcons at home, they've put up 50 or 49 points. The Falcons on the road have put up 13 points.
But let's look at the opponents. I mean, the Carolina Panthers team we can see is
they're not that good, but they do have a good defensive front.
I don't think that was a good. I mean, when you're so bad at the quarterback position, as the Falcons know, you put a tremendous strain on your defense. So even if you have an okay defense, they're not going to keep getting up for you if you're going to keep putting them in shitty situations. This is Texas.
And I would say Jordan Love and Bryce Young are probably closer to what CJ Stroud is right now than Jared Goff and Trevor Lawrence. That's what I'll say. I think the Falcons have had, or the Texans have had some nice matchup, and CJ Stroud has looked great in a system that's great at making quarterbacks look great.
Yeah,
but a lot. I mean, you're someone who likes to point out garbage time. There was a lot of garbage time in that Texans game that helped pad some of these stats that you're citing.
Colts game, you mean?
Sorry, the Colts game. Yes, the Texans Colts game, and I think. While I think he had a good game against the Jags, that was also aided by some things that had nothing to do with him. And so,
yeah, I mean, just look at you mentioned the Jags game. Look at the mutual opponent, the Jags. Okay. I mean,
a flow chart. I mean, you used it earlier. It's a flow chart. It's an outcome we expected.
I really liked what I saw out of them. I really liked what I've seen out of D'Amico Ryans as a head coach so far. I don't think the Falcons should be favored right now. I just don't think they're a good team. I don't think Desmond Ritter's.
He's back at home. They're back at home though. You're completely disregarding the idea that they've been on the road for 2 weeks in a row.
I don't think they look good against Green Bay.
For 2 weeks in a row.
I don't think they look good against Green Bay.
Okay. I mean, they held Green Bay down for the most part, with the exception of a couple drives, and they scored 25 points, which for them is a bit of a scoring outburst. So
yeah, so I'm out on this Falcons team.
Okay. And again, like we barely even talked about the offensive line, but Houston's offensive line continues to get it done.
Yeah, they blocked TJ Watt.
That was JJ Watt day. We missed that. That's our bad. Give me Atlanta -2 again. Why
Ryan off to a rough start?
Why? Oh wow, very confident over there.
Yeah, I'm feeling good.
I mean, I have 6-2 in my locks.
Yeah, are you locking this up?
No, maybe we'll see. Stay tuned to the end of the show. Carolina heads to Detroit, where the Lions, coming off a nice Thursday night win for them. They now own the Packers, I guess. They're this one, pretty amazing line jump here from 7.5 to 9.5 on the look ahead. Carolina plus 330 on the money line. 44.5 is the total. Again, Detroit mini bye off Thursday, and they're getting a bit more of the action than Carolina. Not surprising. None of this is surprising. Obviously, this is the first game you circle in Survivor. I think Carolina is probably the worst team in the NFL. In terms of, if I'm just looking at every team on a neutral site versus every other team, I don't know who I'm making favorite for the Panthers.
Panthers are pretty bad.
The quarterback, as long as they're starting Bryce Young, I think they were wrong.
If they
think they were wrong,
it's 4 games in, but how could you find anything positive about Bryce Young? Even if you want to talk yourself into, you got to play the dog. Bryce Young's had 3 games. He's led the team to 40 points. 7 of those were garbage points against the Saints. No one's getting open on this Carolina Panthers team. I mean, Adam Thielen is their workhorse. They're drawing up plays to get Adam Thielen going. That's how bad things are. Miles Sanders is banged up. Man, it's just really tough for this Panthers. And in the same way that the Falcons, like, if your offense is that bad, it puts tremendous pressure on your defense.
But can you lay 9.5 with the Lions?
I think you have to. I mean, I can't bet the Panthers.
Are you laying it just because you know
this is the fate of the Carolina Panthers?
We're going to be on the Survivor.
Bryce Young's. I mean, that helps. Bryce Young's longest completion is 22 yards this season, the lowest of 30 quarterbacks with 100+ pass attempts. He's not completing the ball downfield. Even if you're talking yourself into getting some garbage time, which they kind of did. Maybe it was a push depending on where you bet it against the Saints. I mean, what are we talking about? And Ryan, you mentioned the Survivor thing. Every one of our Survivor picks have won straight up and against the spread.
Yeah, no, I again, I mean, you're going to continue to make fun of me for it, but I keep finding it hard to go against the team with the $ next to their name, catching all the public action, and they get their Jameson Williams has been freed.
Yeah, but he's not playing.
They changed the rules, but him being back on the team, good or bad? Have you heard the trade rumors?
I know they weren't in love with him before he got suspended for gambling.
Do you think he gets traded before this weekend?
No.
I think there's a chance he gets traded before this weekend.
All right, I'll take that bet.
Yeah. All right.
What are you betting?
I think he gets traded. I wonder if he's not going to be on the team when they're playing this game. Yeah, I think you have to lay the points. Unfortunately, this is the too cute one, right?
What do you mean?
If you take Carolina?
Oh yeah, no,
What do you mean? What do I mean?
How can you talk yourself into Carolina? There's nothing to like. What are the positives? Their defense isn't that great, and they've just looked horrible with Bryce Young. Like, their offense has nothing going. Listen to the press conference.
Ankle injury again.
If they put Andy Dalton in, that's a totally different handicap, because Andy Dalton was getting the ball into those tight windows. The guys weren't open, but he was creating plays. So that my handicap completely changed if Andy Dalton plays.
Are you 100% sure he's 100% out this weekend?
Who?
Williams.
Yes.
Like, the team has announced that he's not going to play.
I don't think they're going to play him.
Okay.
He says he's ready to go, but I don't think they're going to put him out there. He had trouble.
So he's healthy, I guess that's the question.
Well, he was dealing with a hamstring, and then he wasn't allowed to be around the team. So was this guy who had issues learning the playbook, lining up correctly, staying in shape? Do you think he did that on his month off? I'm betting no, but you're right. Maybe he comes in, he's completely.
He was listed as a full participant on the Wednesday practice report. So I would assume if he still was rehabbing a hamstring injury, he would not be listed as full. But it also doesn't state an injury. It says not injury related, returning from suspension.
So Lions head coach Dan Campbell noted that we shouldn't expect Williams to play a full slate of reps out of the gate as Lions work the speedy receiver into the game plan. Just about polishing all the little things. And we also know if he does play, he can't play 60 plays. So that doesn't sound like a guy who's going to be involved in the game.
It sounds like he's going to get some reps though.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe he'll get a couple plays.
Okay. So yeah. That means he'll play.
All right.
Well, maybe
I don't think he's good. I don't think he has an impact on the game.
All right. One big touchdown.
He did. Boom. He did do that before. Where
that
he
was
only
the excitement
played.
about him. He just came out for like 2 snaps, caught a 40-yard touchdown.
Hey, maybe you're a Lions fan. You're going to be heading to this game against the Carolina Panthers at home. Got to get those tickets over on Game Time. Use the promo code SGPN. Get $20 off when you sign up over at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account. Just go to SGPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create that account. Go to gametime.co. Get set up over there. Your go-to app for last-minute tickets. They got that sweet, sweet low price guarantee. Images of the seats. They got their flash deals. You're gonna get a great price. You're gonna have a great ticket. You're gonna have a great experience. And not only sports, they got you covered. Concerts, comedy. If their ticket is out there, Game Time has you covered. Download the app. Use the promo code SGPN. Get $20 off your first purchase.
Talked about the Lions all that time, and we didn't even mention that Dan Campbell has consumed 69,000 milligrams of caffeine this NFL season. Myself and producer Josh were doing some math before the show. Just so you know, Sean, you and me, well, average, we'll say maybe we're average consumers of caffeine. I did 3 cups of coffee a day. We would be at 18,000.
Wow.
In the same time period.
He's a machine. I mean, you got to adjust for body weight. What is that guy, like 275?
It just can't be good. That's just, I feel like the blood is just going through. It's like his blood is constantly just flooring a Lamborghini.
Maybe that's why he bites kneecaps, or he's in, because you're that jacked up at caffeine. You're reaching out. You're ready to rip off someone's kneecaps.
That's where the good blood is. If you want to drink someone else's blood. All right. Next up, 10 a.m. on the West Coast. We got a little AFC South situation. This division's tight, Sean. The way it always should be. The Titans, which
you like it tight, huh?
Love it tight. AFC South, a lot of cities that also like it tight.
We're having fun here.
Titans are looking ahead to game across the pond. And they head to Indy this week. Indy was 1.5 point favorites on the look ahead, and now the Titans are laying a point. -115 on the money line. Colts -105. 42.5 is the total. This is a flow chart game. Let's sound the alarm. And I don't think they're a close your eyes special either. Missed that one. Yeah. Here's what I'll say, Sean.
Yes.
Flow chart, AFC South flow chart, very strong flow chart. The Titans own the Colts in Indy, specifically Vrabel 4-1 in Indy in his career.
Yeah, Titans have won 6 of the last 7. So even when you don't figure that in, I mean, AR-15, Anthony Richardson. First, let's start with anytime touchdown. He's right up there with Jalen Hurts, where you should just be auto playing these things until they reprice them. I'm a little scared.
Don't love it this week.
Really?
That's just what the Titans do best. They just prevent you from running the football.
That's true. But I think
this is the game where he randomly has a bunch of passing, like exciting passing plays.
I think close to the goal line is where things, it's just, he's still the guy. Jonathan Taylor practicing. If he plays, don't expect much from him. Randomly, Trey Sermon got 3 carries for 7 yards.
The ghost of Trey Sermon's back.
And I'm a little nervous about the Titans because the Colts, their rush defense has been pretty good, only allowing 3.8 yards per carry, 10th in the league. You mentioned the Titans; they're only allowing 2.9 yards per carry, number 1 in the league. Derrick Henry did wake up against the Bengals, 22 of 122. But to me, when looking at the Titans, you have to evaluate the quarterback. Like we did this exercise last week. Can you throw the ball deep? Yes. Then don't play the Titans. If the answer is no, then I think you have to play the Titans. And Anthony Richardson can throw the ball deep. He's not dealing with a Joe Burrow leg injury, but can he complete it deep? That's where he's still a little off target. 11 of 25 against the Rams for 200 yards.
The nerds will tell you they love that he's. I love how excited they'll get about incomplete
intended air yards. He threw the ball close to the other guy and he threw it far. That means maybe next time he might catch it.
Yeah, I mean, look, Anthony Richardson plus 110 on the anytime. Is that price right now? You still taking it?
What is it?
Plus 110.
Yeah.
Still taking it?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Until they figure out another option near the goal line.
They love that Anthony Richardson is taking shots, I guess, down. I just sure here's the deceiving stuff you're hearing out there. He's generated a lot of explosive plays, but he has not attempted a lot of passes down the field. He has created a lot of explosive plays, but he has not attempted a lot of passes down the field. I said it twice because I've heard way too many smart people this week talk about him in the context of, wow, with what they're doing on offense, they should really be able to attack this Titans defense the way that everyone else has. I disagree. I do not think he's going to be able to attack the defense in that way. A lot of these explosives were screen passes with negative air yards. You want to talk about air yards? Sean, a week or two ago, we were saying he had one pass deeper than 20 yards. So I don't get where this complete shift of narrative has come from. He just finished his first ever NFL game. We're obviously stands for fucking the Titans at this point.
Yes,
it's just ridiculous. But
they've been good. ATS 3-1,
and the flow chart for the AFC South has been very good to us as well.
Yeah, I mean this was close because I do get a little nervous about the Titans on the road against a decent rush defense.
Not this road spot.
No, I ran the numbers and I feel good about the Titans.
Yeah, we love Vrabel in this spot. Not all the spots, but this spot. All right, next up.
Oh, here we go. Giants.
The Giants head to Miami. No, that's the wrong music. The Giants head to Miami. Which, by the way, there are a strange amount of hip injuries this week. I was scrolling through the old injury ticker, and it was a lot of parentheses hip. So shout out to Shakira.
Rusting. Those
hips don't lie. Miami, the Dolphins, another heavily influenced side by the public. I don't understand why everyone will be looking to bet the Dolphins here. Meanwhile, the Giants coming off Monday night, so on a short week. And oh my goodness, Sean, they underperformed the spread by over 21 points.
Oh, see, I was going to say, I don't think they qualify as
they do because that's what they were a favorite when we picked the game. And that's how we do it, Sean. You don't believe the numbers?
No, I thought they were a 1-point dog when we picked it. But you're correct.
Nope. Unfortunately they were favored, which means they are now a close your eyes special. Miami is laying 11 points here, minus 535 on the money line, 4-1 for the Giants. A single football game. Interesting. 48.5 is the total. Andrew Thomas is out.
Oh, they already ruled him out.
I'm just telling. I'm doing an injury prognosticating, just like you.
I'm looking forward.
What do you mean?
Oh, I didn't know they ruled him out.
I'm prognosticating an injury with confidence, like you do. When you walk into the office and tell me someone's out, but it's not actually them being out. It's just your feeling that they're going to be out, and then they turn out to not be out.
Like
it's one of those. No, I'm just saying it's one of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then he is going to
like
play?
When I said Sean is Deshaun Watson is going to play in that last week. You're like, yeah. As if it was a stupid question, and he turned out to not play. Andrew Thomas not going to play.
You act like you said he wasn't going to play.
No, I was just asking. We were just talking about.
Oh yeah, I thought he was going to play.
Yeah, so that was the confident injury prognostication that I just made. Andrew Thomas will be out. Barkley better chance to play, but also probably out. I don't know what's there even to talk about here.
Giants fewest points scored in the first two home games ever in the NFL with 3. You look at some of the other teams. 2013
home games.
Yeah, 2013 Jags put up 5 points, went 4-12.
It's a road game. What are we talking about?
1999 Browns.
Come on, save that for the next home game.
Put up 7. They went 2-14.
Just shelve that for week 7.
Evan Neal going at the fans who booed him. What do? Quote, flip hot dogs and hamburgers somewhere. You don't flip hot dogs. That was my biggest beef with you rotate hot dogs. Like what is he even talking about? Even the
he's a football player. Might not be the smartest.
Even the players yelling at the fan base. I mean, I would say Brian Daboll's lucky he doesn't play in the city of Philadelphia, a city that holds their head coaches accountable. Because if you were getting your ass kicked so consistently, like the Giants have, being 1-7-1 in the division, historic point differential, people would be calling for you to be fired. And yet I go on the Giants message boards and Dable is the last person to be blamed. Why are people not pissed off at Dable, Ryan?
I think it's a combination of the offensive line is an easy target. So that's where the mouth breathers are out. Then you have the film bros who watch the film and are like, well, Dan Jones is playing like a bag of fucking dicks. And I think there's I think the part where it's obviously a coaching situation is the lack of development. Offensive line coach not doing anything, special teams problems. Once again, you decide to pull someone for muffing a punt and put out your number one cornerback, because that doesn't seem like a smart decision. So I do think there is some intelligence cachet or whatever you want to call it that was applied to him based on some things that happened last year that, you know, maybe we're looking at the output and not the process. And so now that the output is negative, the process looks really bad.
Giants have zero.
Oh, you didn't even care about the answer.
No.
You were just waiting for another shitty trend about them.
You didn't. You didn't answer it. I
did answer it. I explained why people aren't blaming Dable, because you
said why they're blaming other
they're not
people.
Blaming Dable because there's plenty of
more
blame.
Obvious targets.
There's plenty of blame to go on the offensive line. There's plenty of blame to be put on Dan Jones. Their targets are easier right now. And Dable did something last year that was unexpected. So people still want to say, hey, you did a good job. And it seemed like he was doing a good job. It seemed like he was sharp. Other people outside of the organization were saying, this is sharp. This looks intelligent, like intelligent behavior. Hey, look, we're going to get rid of the binders and written notebooks for scouting reports, and we're going to have technology that appeared to be intelligent. Now, maybe it'd be nice if one of your draft picks did something.
Joe Judge has a computer guy.
Oh, well, does he?
Or wait, who is
sure?
Oh,
Gettleman.
Gettleman
didn't
Joe
have a
Judge
computer.
and Gettleman.
No. Joe Judge. I think we might go back on the Joe Judge thing in the future and find out that there was a little bit too much meddling from ownership, and maybe Joe Judge isn't the complete asshat. I mean, clearly an asshat, but I think he was in a bit of a grinder. So yeah, I mean, obviously you're taking the Giants because you love the close your eyes special.
I might, but
I only play the close your eyes special, so my hands are tied here.
The Giants,
my hands are tied.
The Giants have 0 takeaways this season. They're the 5th team with 0 takeaways through 4 games all time. But positive note, Ryan.
That's a lazy take, because I think actually one of the positives this season has been like they're going to have some cornerback. They have some young cornerbacks that are playing well.
I was going to say the positive part is they're the only one of those 5 teams to win a game straight up.
Oh wow!
So they're overcoming.
Dropped a number of
historic
interceptions from Mr. Purdy. That was disappointing because he was really inaccurate in that game.
Just matchup wise, how does this Dolphins offense not run over?
Tackling's been a problem.
Yeah, Mostert, Achane. Do we start Mostert and Achane in our fantasy league? I think
we're going to do that every week.
Yeah,
if this team's going to score, if they're going to have a bad week, and I think we started them last week and they got us like 25 combined points in a bad week. That's fine.
Steffi Small saying, "Did I just hear Tua interception?
Nice.
Nuke it,
Dog."
I mean, again, if there ever was going to be something surprising happen, it would be that the Giants find a way to slow down Tyreek Hill in this passing attack. But they have. I mean, that Deonte Banks just held Metcalf to 4 targets, 3 catches for like 35 yards and a touchdown. Granted, the touchdown was bad.
Are the Dolphins looking ahead to the Panthers at home next week?
Oh, that's good. How hot will it be on the Giants sideline, Sean? I do have a little bit of a weather report.
Okay, I'm going to say it's going to be a little cooler than it's not going to quite be a thermometer game, but
it's 87 in thunderstorms. That's the weather report.
Okay, well then on the Giants sideline it'll be hotter. Somehow they figure that out
when the sun's out. But if the sun's not out because there's clouds and it's raining, they lose their advantage altogether, and the power of the Miami Stadium goes away. I mean, is there any? Is this one of the ugliest close your eyes specials we've ever been faced with?
It's pretty ugly. I mean, because of the matchup is just so I'm really I'm at this point. Maybe earlier in the segment I was trying to troll you, but I honestly, Ryan,
maybe.
No, I was, but what are the positives? If I'm gonna click Giants plus 11, what am I talking myself into? Hey, they get turnover regression. Like, what matchups are they winning is what I'm really struggling to figure out.
Yeah, I mean, if you the way you would spin it to yourself is you would say, well, they didn't do horrible against the Niners for a bit until the game was completely wrecked by the offense.
Okay.
And if they catch a couple of those interceptions, one could have been a pick six, another would have been a drive stuffing end zone or interception in the end zone. Then here we are with a 1-score game, maybe a 10-point game. And so another big spread like this, similar situation, similar scheme. I know there's been a strange amount of, and again, it's another situation where you're going to blitz Tua and see what he does. And so, sure, Purdy made completed some passes in that game off his back foot that could have easily been intercepted, and the team tackled like shit. And so, yeah, if they tackle like shit again, you're probably fucked either way. Yeah. But if not, have you seen Tua have a bad game before? We've forgotten. It's been so long.
No, he had a bad game against the Bills.
No, really, no, like a bad game, a bad game.
Like Tua unraveling. But the problem is now they have Mostert and Achane, which they've figured out their running game.
Like a slippery when wet Tua game. Might be wet.
All right, I'm going Miami minus 11.
All right. Again, Sean, last week you went against the Close Your Eyes special and you lost. Yep. This week you battle again. And speaking of the Close Your Eyes special, let's stick to it. Game 5 in the early window, the Saints head to New England to take on the Patriots. Patriots are laying a point, minus 120 on the money line, minus 105 for the Saints, going back the other way. 40 is the total. So whichever team was the dog here was gonna land the Close Your Eyes special. And again, if you're watching on YouTube.com/sports gambling podcast, got some nuggets up for each team. The nuggets for these teams are just too funny. Both starting quarterbacks, Sean, Derek Carr and McCorkle Jones, have worse passer ratings.
It's a baby fucking wheel, Fields. Man.
Okay, that almost seems impossible. Note on the roster, obviously they lost Christian Gonzalez, who was looking really, really good.
Yeah.
Well, they lost the season.
They lost him, and then they lost
Judon as well.
Might be for the entire season.
They trade for J.C. Jackson, who was a surprise inactive for the Chargers. So again, Chargers charging their roster as well. New Orleans does not look great.
No,
obvious. I don't know. This is another game, right? I'm glad it's a Close Your Eyes special in some regard because I don't have to make a choice.
It does make the decision a little easier, and that injury news on the defense.
Is it weird to say that Kamara? I think the biggest area we'll see Kamara being back matter is it gives Carr something to do with the ball when there's nothing else out there. Well, and although we've heard everyone make fun of his stats last week because he was just check down Charlie.
Yeah, Alvin Kamara, 14 targets, 13 receptions for 33 receiving yards. Well, that's bonkers.
The nugget that Carr had negative air yards is crazy.
Well,
total air yards he had negative. He completed over 20 passes. That's insane.
I think one more week after that sprained AC joint, I do think the injury was kind of hurting him. But on the other side, like their offense, even when they have been healthy, like they're just not putting up a ton of points. But neither of the Patriots. Patriots are 3-8 their last 11 games, and the quarterbacks they've beat are like Jacoby Brissett, Zach Wilson. Like they haven't beat a quarterback of Derek Carr's caliber in a long time. I'm being serious. Ramondre Stevenson, what the hell's happened to him this year? 60 carries, 164.
They've been eating too much.
It is Saints, they put up 20 points once this season. That was against the Panthers, and it was exactly 20 points. On the other side, the Patriots, I mean, you would imagine Bill Belichick, his worst loss of his career, would bounce back, but I can't bet on that. Give me the Saints.
They say that old quarterbacks fall off the cliff hard. Do old coaches fall off the cliff even harder?
It's a baby fucking wheel, man.
I mean, Belichick, the GM, was thrown off that cliff years ago, but I think the head coach Belichick also fallen off that cliff.
Worth noting, it will be 59 degrees, so not super cold. But is that cold enough for Derek Carr's shoulder to get a little stiff?
I mean, it's scary to take the Saints outdoors.
The Patriots lost 38-3. Isn't that the story?
I think they've just lost. I think he's lost the team, offensively, defensively. I mean, Mac Jones. Two defensive touchdowns he had there. He had one he created in the Eagles game.
He punched Sauce Gardner in the nuts. Colin Cowherd has heard horrible things about him.
They're clearly not playing for Mac Jones at all.
Did you hear what Belichick said about him? Like he was getting grilled by the media about taking him out of the game, and he's like,
I didn't think there was anything else he could do.
Is he benched for this week? Oh, there's nothing to do with this week.
I just took Bailey Zappi.
So Mac Jones isn't going to start, right?
Oh, he's 100% starting.
How quick does he get pulled?
I don't know.
What does he have to do to get pulled?
This is going to be an ugly ass game.
The Saints is the kind of defense.
How does this over hit 40 points?
No, thank you.
This is going to be
not a total.
This will be 10-8.
Defensive touchdown has to happen here. Maybe we should look into no touchdown score.
Nah, it feels like no touchdowns.
Well, and if you recall, the Saints have been one of those teams that can drive into the red zone effectively and then turn it into a field goal every time. So actually, Sean, we really should look into this. If it's +1, if it's 110-1, we might have to get down on the no touchdown score.
Yes, sir.
All right, last early game, the Ravens head to Pittsburgh. This is an old-fashioned AFC North clash. Baltimore is looking like the public side right now. All sorts of situations here. We got a back-to-back road spot for Baltimore. We got Pittsburgh in a close your eyes special situation, as they are 4-point home dogs, +165 on the money line. Baltimore -200, 38.5 is the total. You have Pittsburgh looking ahead to the bye. Baltimore looking ahead to a game in London against Tennessee, which, by the way, Ravens, Titans, overseas, great uniform situation there. This is, again, I abide by the close your eyes special.
So do I, with noted NFC exceptions.
Sometimes you don't. And just everything else about this game makes sense. The situational spot, it's a fade on Baltimore. The if you want to sprinkle in the public side, that would just be me being contradictory. But you could fade the public. You could also fade a organization going to London.
Mike Tomlin as a home dog, 16-5-3 ATS. Mike Tomlin 13-2 against the spread after a loss of 20+. I mean, he seemed like he was really pissed off, and I'm kicking myself for taking them last week. It was an obvious sandwich spot. It was an obvious letdown spot. They were looking ahead to the Ravens. There was just so many things that could go wrong. And the Ravens offensive line just cannot get healthy. It sounds like they're getting Ronnie Stanley back, their left tackle. And then now it looks like their right tackle is out.
He's going to miss some time.
Do you think Kenny Pickett plays, Ryan? It seems like it's trending that way. Although
interesting that you're saying that, because I have not found anything to suggest that he is going to play. I think based on the injury, I know that he was like, did they technically give him a limited practice today? I don't see the benefit of playing him if he's going to be hobbled. I don't think Mitchell Trubisky is a huge downgrade. I know it seems crazy to say that.
Well, and
I think his legs are what you're going to need in this game against the Ravens defense. So feels really strange, but I'd feel a lot better about the close your eyes special if gross ass Mitchell Trubisky was in there for the Steelers. And so I actually,
well, and to that point, the Ravens, to get pressure, they need to blitz, and Trubisky, as contradictory as it sounds, is actually pretty decent against the blitz. So I'm with you. A healthy Trubisky, I think, might be better in the spot. Kenny Pickett keeps saying, the only thing I've seen is Kenny Pickett saying, I'm going to play, but I think he realizes he needs to play to keep his job. So he's going to keep saying that. We'll see if the Steelers head coach agree. The margin of victory in this rivalry, look at the numbers, the past games: 3-2, 3-1, 5-14, 18-3 in the past 4 years. So even if you don't have a strong play on the side, the fact that all these games end up being close, and we haven't even gotten into Lamar Jackson and his fumbleitis. It's serious. I don't know how it didn't didn't really come back to haunt him in that Browns game. Again, if your quarterback is that shitty, it's just
they're playing DTR.
Yeah, that's all you need to know. He's had 6 fumbles so far in this season, 2 in every game, except the what it was his second game. He's lost 3 of those. There's clearly something going on with Lamar Jackson and ball control.
I'm on the Ravens like long-term big picture this season, but let's zoom in to what they've done so far. They got CJ Stroud in his first game without half his offensive line. They got Joe Burrow, who clearly is not healthy, and they gave up 24 points. Then they got Gardner Minshew and they lost. And then they got DTR. So I could even argue that Mitchell Trubisky is at least on par, if not an upgrade on some of the opposition they've faced this season. So yeah, it's gross. The injury report does not look great for either team.
Yeah, and we haven't
just got to take the points.
We haven't even gotten to Ryan. You were looking for some clarity on who the Steelers were going to start. I just sent out a tweet and tagged at Danny Football 77, who is supposedly the burner to Matt Canada. Now, no way of actually verifying this. There's some internet rumors that it is a Matt Canada burner, or maybe it's someone pretending to set up a Matt Canada burner. If you look at the replies, they are very, very hilariously pro Matt Canada, which
it's like 6 of them though. And it's like,
okay, so Ryan thinks it's a setup. I don't know.
Here's my take.
Ryan doesn't like a good conspiracy theory.
I love a good conspiracy theory. I don't think Matt Canada is like, I guess my one take is I doubt that a football guy like Matt Canada is trolling around the internet using his Steelers email address. Second,
see, but like I guess I would read that as he's dumb enough to do that because he's a football guy.
But my second thing is who is looking to gain the most from this activity? Well, the guy who's got 5 million views on the video.
Oh,
the content creator. His profile says NFL memes. I mean, why not create a I mean, I don't know. There's more important conspiracies out there, Sean. Like these reptiles wearing human skin. I'm still working on getting to the bottom of that one.
So we're both on the Steelers +4.
Yeah. Again, I personally ride with the close your eyes special, ride or die.
I do minus NFC East related games.
Not selective.
Kramer, tell people about Underdog Fantasy. I got to go grab a drink.
All right. Well, you're lucky that I was just looking through my best ball ownership and a lot of Dan Jones. So reinvesting and repivoting to the pick'em. And again, Sean mentioned it earlier, unsolicited, but these spicy picks. I think Cam got it up to 91x when he hit. I've gotten a couple up to 100x. They've been losing efforts, but the idea that you can get now square.
Well, Cam hit his.
No, I know, but I that's what I said. I said I've gotten it up to 100 to 1, but they've only been losers. And so is everything all right? You survived the break, but I've gotten it up to 100 to 1. Not yet won. Like Cam, be like Cam, not like me. And we got to update. We got to get Josh to update these graphics because not only is the match up to $500, but we got to get a spicy pepper graphic in there. Sean, let's. I mean, I'm just gonna pull it up right now because there's a couple spicy peppers available on the menu for Thursday night. So
we just and we talked about it on Thursday night, but I just recorded the Diehard Eagles podcast. Gave out some spicy plays I like there. Matt Stafford to lose a fumble is 2x.
Whoa, really?
Yeah,
that seems
either 2x or 1.5.
That seems incorrect. I'll be honest, Sean. But we talked about the Justin Fields fumbles lost being a spicy one. That's 1.5x. I don't know, Sean. I'm gonna give you. We just talked about the Steelers Ravens.
Yep.
I'm furiously scrolling down the screen. Lamar Jackson fumbles lost. What do you think this price is?
Is it +1.5?
Plus 1.75.
What? He just has to lose one?
Put that in your core entry. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPN.
We'll have some more of these on a props show later in the week because I'm definitely going to be playing that one.
And I'm seeing something that doesn't look like a spicy. They need a spicy meatball. They need a meatball emoji for the really big fat ones. All right, let's move over to the afternoon games. Which, by the way, Sean, is the pregame show going to include Sean stacking the money green this weekend?
Yeah, one form or the other.
That's a very cryptic answer. 105. We're in the afternoon window, which means perhaps Sean will be off watching the.
I'm going to be at the game.
The Eagles Rams game in beautiful open air stadium known as SoFi Stadium in Southern California here in Los Angeles. But first, we talk about the Bengals and the Cardinals. In some ways, this has been the talk of the gambling world. I feel like because of the massive movement on the look ahead from 7.5 down to 3. Bengals in a back-to-back road spot here, -165 on the money line. Cardinals +140, 44.5 is the total. Josh Dobbs balling, putting off that space career for a little bit longer. Apparently, the football pays better than going to space, less risky too. No CTE in space, I've heard. I don't know what the handicap here is. Simply, I mentioned it on the recap show. Burrow's hurt. He's not getting better. He's going to go on the IR. That's my prediction. All of these Twitter doctors keep talking about it.
So when were they going to put him on the IR?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just making my bold prediction.
I don't think they would put him on the IR because they have when's their bye? Because I don't.
Well, let me look at this here. Schedule grid. Bye week 7.
They have the bye coming up, so I think they would, if they're not going to play. I mean, if you didn't play him this game and you didn't play him next game and you had the bye, you would almost get that same amount of time. Bring him back for the 49ers October 29th.
Okay, so
but if they were going to do that, they would already have made that decision, right?
Obviously, there's some politics going on here. The fact that he's playing in the first place, the fact that he went from now he's not on the injury report. He's hurt. Why is he not on the injury report? That doesn't make sense. We watched the game, Sean. He's 100% limited. How is he not being listed on an injury report as limited? How are we? All the Twitter MDs, the XMDs, whatever we call them, they all seem to agree that whatever is wrong with him is not getting better.
Yep.
So if you're running the Bengals, what do you do? You're 1-3. You suck with this guy.
No, I would have.
He's not good at all.
I would have. I mean, I would have sat him down beginning of the season.
Sure, but now that
we're here in this situation, I would sit him until you come back from the bye against the 49ers.
So does this spread mean he's not playing?
I think he's going to play. I don't think this
4.5 point line movement over 7 down 2-3. That's a strong move.
No, and maybe he certainly there is a possibility that he doesn't play. I think the market kind of loves the Cardinals, even though they lost by 19 points, didn't cover a 14-point spread. Now they were, I mean, Zach Ertz should have caught that touchdown pass to backdoor it, but people are kind of in love with this Cardinals team
because they fought.
They're 3-1 ATS. That last game was the only one they didn't cover. So there's gonna be Cardinals money, and everyone like us saw Joe Burrow struggle, saw the Bengals get their ass kicked against the Titans. I think that's the majority of what's causing this line movement. Because I think if they truly thought Joe Burrow wasn't going to play, you almost have to make Arizona a favorite there.
I don't think they would do that because I don't think you'd ever see a move of like 10 points or whatever, 9, I guess -2.5. Maybe it's that would be 10 points. So yeah,
I think the Bengals are the more desperate team. I think the Cardinals in a weird way felt good about losing by 19 points to the 49ers.
No,
this is a non-conference game. This is the Cardinals rush defense. How do you beat the Cardinals? You run the ball down their throats, a la Christian McCaffrey. I think Joe Mixon has himself a game. I think Joe Burrow is a desperate, wounded animal. And I think Joe Burrow comes out, and in the same way they gutted out an ugly victory against the Los Angeles Rams, I think they're going to do the same thing here. So I'm on the Bengals laying 3.
Yeah. Jamar Chase, does he go off too after highlighting that he's always fucking open?
Well, and he's probably right. They're just too talented not to make this click to some degree. And I think you're getting a nice discount here on the Bengals. I just at 3 points, I cannot take the Cardinals.
Here's the crazy thing about the Bengals and Joe Burrow. He has a lower time to throw. He had a lower time to throw last week than Daniel Jones. He's not getting protection. So if there's an intelligent defensive scheme, I think they're going to have the same problems. I think they weren't able to attack. We mentioned this earlier with the Titans, but they weren't able to attack the arguably one of the worst vulnerabilities on any team in the league. And that's the Titans' deep passing defense. They weren't able to do anything there. So I see the line movement. I understand why I shouldn't be jumping on the other side of it, but give me the Cardinals. They've been prepared to play in every game. And I think the reason why there's optimism flowing out of a 19-point loss is that A, they would have covered, had a simple pass been caught, and B, the fight. There's fight in this team. And you know what I didn't see last week in the Bengals? Fight. Yeah. Although I would like to hear what Ocho Cinco said to Burrow as he was running off the field last week. If you didn't see that video, who knows why Ocho Cinco was in Tennessee for a road game, but
Reckless Rick 9 saying tease of the week.
Okay. I'm kind of in the camp where this is probably a game I leave off a teaser card. Although I don't see how the Bengals score so many points. Give me Arizona plus
Steffi Smalls also tossing out Burrow interception plus 160.
That's it. That's an incorrect price. Just flat out. He's not looking good right now. And Jamar Chase talked all that shit, so he's going to try to force it to him.
Yeah. It's going to get a bunch of easy catches underneath.
Well, yeah, but also love the interception.
Yeah. I don't love this. I don't love betting on this game, but I'll take the Bengals.
Eagles, obviously a public side. They're heading to Los Angeles, as we mentioned. Sean's going to be there. What's the record? What's the team's record with you in attendance? Do we have an official stat there?
Pretty solid. Yeah, I know Terrell.
Pretty solid.
Terrell ran the numbers last time I went to an Eagles game in the West Coast against the Raiders. They got their ass kicked in that game, and
that was in Las Vegas, though, not in California.
No, it's true.
All right. Well, they
are undefeated in LA. Games I've been at.
Last week, this was 6. It opened back up at 6, and then got bet down to 4. Sean, the Eagles
love those Rams.
I mean, it is remarkable considering that, according to the data, at least over at DK, more of the bets have come in on the Eagles. Minus 220 for the Birds. Rams plus 180. 50.5 is the total. Cooper Kupp sounds like he's practicing. That's exciting. And
they said they're only going to play Cooper Kupp if he's 90%.
Who's got the abacus out?
Yeah, no 85. Sorry, Kupp. No playing. It does.
It's like when you get the bag on the scale at the airport, and it's like 51 pounds. Fuck.
Yeah,
and then you're
really
taking shit out in front of everyone.
And also, I always pointed out to the baggage people because my wife always has this issue.
Oh no!
I'm just taking 2 pounds from this bag and putting it on this other bag that's also going on your fucking plane. I know you have the rule there, so people don't go crazy. But the same amount of the same amount of weight is going to be on that plane one way or the other. So I'm taking out our novels, putting them in the other bag that's going on your dumb fucking plane.
I've solved this problem. Just charge me like cargo.
Yeah.
So me and my baggage, total weight. That's my ticket price. Would that offend some people? Sorry, you have to buy 2 seats.
Yeah, Kevin Smith had that battle with Southwest.
You know what I would want to do? If I was fat enough to need 2 seats, I would want to buy 2 seats. I'm a comfort guy.
If I was fat enough to buy 2 seats, I would not be drawing attention by. No. I mean, I sat next to a guy once who needed a seatbelt extender. The guy was bummed out. I felt bad for him, but he wasn't outraged that his seatbelt wasn't fitting.
Yeah. fat shaming motherfuckers. Although I will say,
why would you throw a tirade that they made you buy 2 seats? You should be like, maybe I should lose weight.
That is the worst feeling when you're sitting on a plane all by yourself. Maybe there's an empty seat between you and the guy in the aisle, and you're both kind of like, "Holy shit, did we hit the fucking jackpot?"
And then
you got 275 pounds with a double Big Mac meal coming down the aisle to sit right between
and
you.
The people who bring hot food onto a plane. Okay, maybe you that was the only thing you could grab. But like, why would you? You can't enjoy a meal in coach, like a hot meal. Like what? Eat it and then go on the plane.
Yeah, just drink something out of a straw, or a small baggie of chips. That works too. All right, enough talking about getting your elbows jammed up in some dude's fat rolls. Or I assume you're on the Eagles.
Oh yeah, I love the Eagles. Eagles number 4 pressure rate in the NFL. The Rams offensive line has been banged up a little bit. Matty Stafford dealing with the bruised hip. He got knocked around in that Colts game late. And as much as I thought Stafford has looked pretty sharp throwing the ball, part of it is him being able to slide around in the pocket and avoid pressure, which I don't think is going to be able to happen in this game. Eagles have also been great at generating turnovers, coming off a game where they didn't have any against the Commanders. But Stafford's thrown 5 picks this season. He is as well as he's played. He still has that weakness for the interceptions, and I don't think you can spot the Eagles some turnovers. The home environment for the Eagles will be electric. Eagles should be getting their safety Sidney Brown back from a hamstring injury. Knock on wood. They are without their right guard Cam Jurgens. Suopeta's in there. Looked decent against the Washington front, but certainly you would like to be 100% on the interior there against Aaron Donald. But I think the Eagles are just a much better team. You saw the passing offense kind of click against the Commanders. I think you're going to get a heavy dose of AJ Brown, and I also think the Rams will have trouble stopping DeAndre Swift.
Is it going to be a Swift Gainwell slowly getting relegated?
Eye test DeAndre Swift just looks so much better.
You told us all Gainwell in the summer. How dare you? Got us all excited that first week, and now reality is right in front of us. Sean, I know you're going to be there. I looked at the weather. Yep. 85 with patchy fog. Will the fog make it inside the open air stadium known as SoFi? I think it will. I think you got to take pictures of the fog so we can prove to Colby it's not a dome. Sean, any worry that the Eagles could be set for some regression as they are 3-0 in 1-score games?
No, because that's kind of a trash stat.
What do you mean?
If you watch,
have I zoomed in too closely?
Well, you're
perhaps
zooming
I might burn my retinas over here.
You're zooming into the rear view.
Oh well, this wasn't me. This was.
Oh, okay. You're throwing Josh under the bus.
No. I'm just saying. It's fun to zoom in too closely and burn our retinas when it's I think useful for us.
No, I mean, sure, anything's possible, but I like their chances against this Rams team. I just look at the line of scrimmage. I don't think the Rams are going to be able to win the line of scrimmage. I think the Eagles have the better talent. And
not worried about Puka.
No, I would, slightly concerned about Puka, but I'm optimistic that our D line can carry them. Hopefully Terrell Edmonds is not out there. Safety. He's been a little bit of a liability in pass coverage. So Puka Nacua has looked great. I think if they do win the game, he has to have a massive game. So if you're putting Rams money line, you may as well parlay it with Puka Nacua, because I don't see how that gets there without him. Now, Kyron Williams didn't practice today. By all counts, he should be playing, but
sounds planned.
Something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I wonder if Cooper Kupp will be rushed back for this game. It seems a little odd. The money coming in on the Rams pushing this line down to 4 doesn't feel super.
Well, I think the sharps and stuff like that, the analytical minded people will say, "Oh, the Eagles are frauds. They shouldn't be 4-0." I think
why is that?
Well, because I honestly don't know. Like I think people are talking themselves into this narrative of, oh, they let these other teams hang around, or they didn't win by a big enough margin. But again, you look at the Tampa Bay game, they probably should have won by another touchdown. They kneeled the ball out on the Bucs 10-yard line. They had a couple uncharacteristic drops in the end zone. That Minnesota game, they were up 13 points. They let the Vikings run the clock out to end that game. They were in control of that game the entire time. The Patriots game, they jumped out to a 16-point lead. Patriots kind of climbed back. They had the foot off the gas. So they've had a double-digit lead in every one of their games. So I don't see why you wouldn't like this Eagles team.
You didn't mention the overtime. Just played an overtime game against a divisional foe. Any sort of hangover here? Long trip to the West Coast.
Yeah, you could play that angle if it didn't also apply to the Rams. Both teams played an overtime game. Both teams traveling 3 time zones.
Oh, look at you. Ready to go.
One
team
on,
going
That's
home.
A good
one
counter.
team. One
yeah,
team.
The Eagles are going home.
No, one team going home.
Eagles.
To where they come from.
Okay, where they'll have more fans.
Well, sure. That's
Rams
that's
working on a
story.
silent count.
I think you have to lay the 4. The number's too short. The 6 is probably correct.
Yeah, I mean Eagles win, 31-24, something like that. 30. 4 feels pretty short for a team that's offense is really playing pretty well.
Yeah, it's hopefully Jalen Carter stays away from the hot street racing scene in Southern California. Next up, 125 on the West Coast. Jets head to Denver. We circled this one back in June or May, whenever the schedule came out, Sean. It's the Nathaniel Hackett Bowl. Let's go.
Keep my coach's name out of your mouth.
The Broncos are laying 2 points, minus 135 on the money line. Jets plus 115. 43 is the total. Broncos looking ahead to the Chiefs.
Yeah, on Thursday night, which I think the Thursday night look ahead, I think there's still a little something to this, but we cannot ignore how incredibly shitty this Broncos defense is. The Broncos have the worst defensive DVOA of all time. And shout out to FTN Fantasy if you're looking for DVOA info. I think it's through whatever 4 games.
That one game kind of skewed some things.
Sure, but has their defense look good in the other games?
Well, they've looked.
I mean, they let Justin Fields set a franchise record for pass completions.
They looked good for a half against the Bears. They looked good.
Well, no, they didn't look. They didn't look good in that second half.
They held the Bears to not scoring points in a half. They held the Commanders to not scoring points in a half, and the Raiders only put up 17 on them. So I would say
they didn't hold the Commanders to not scoring in a half, right?
Are you sure?
Yeah. Remember the Commanders scored right before half?
What was it? 23 points.
It was 21-14 at halftime.
What am I thinking of?
I don't know.
Woo! Ain't smoking my weed.
Broncos. Yeah. I mean, again, the Broncos have also played some bad defenses and still haven't looked amazing. They played the Raiders. They played the Commanders. They played the Dolphins. They played the Bears. I mean, yeah, kudos to them. They did get it done against the Bears, but still, I think this Jets team got a little bit of confidence after that Sunday night near 3-point loss against the Chiefs. I think Zach Wilson was finding some rhythm in that offense. I think Breece Hall could have a big game against this Broncos. I think Garrett Wilson could have a big game against this Broncos. I think Jets are going to be able to move the ball, and the best unit on the field is going to be the Jets defense.
This is true. I wonder, they cut Randy Gregory, by the way. I don't know if that's a addition by subtraction situation. There's part of me that wonders if this is the tank job that we were kind of murmuring about in the preseason, talking about, Peyton wants to get rid of Russ. How do you do that? You have, make him look really bad. This is still Zach Wilson catching less than 3 points on the road. Just let that marinate in your fucking brain.
Yeah, this is still Russell Wilson as a favorite.
That's
I mean, they're both unappealing, but I'll take the team that has Sauce Gardner, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson. They have some guys that at least want to play.
Yeah. I don't know. You're highlighting the Zach Wilson experience, and last week he was still negative EP. I almost want to trust Sean Payton here. I think I'm gonna
Nathaniel Hackett with a chip on his shoulder. I mean,
is that a good thing?
Yeah.
Sean Payton with a chip on his shoulder.
Look at all the people Sean Payton talks shit on. Tua, how'd that end up? I mean,
well, you're saying that somehow the Nathaniel Hackett is gonna will Zach Wilson to being good at football?
I love the Jets here.
Okay, I'll take Denver. Really?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
You're letting the money.
This has nothing to do with the money.
Oh, okay.
This has everything to do with. I mean, again, you're eliminating the fact that they won the game against the Bears. It's fun to make fun of how good they looked, made Chicago's offense. I mean, they pushed the closing number.
Okay.
Right. It was a 3-point number at the end. So
I had it 3.5 in my shop. So.
The closing number was 3 though. I mean, we picked it at 3.5, 100%. But I mean, you can just, let me learn. I got it right. I don't see how you can bet on Zach Wilson. You're saying he played well last week. He didn't play well last week. He just played well for Zach Wilson.
He played better. Yeah. I think Breece Hall is going to carry the team. I think there's a way where they don't involve Zach Wilson that much.
Yeah. Bad teams smell blood. I think Denver at home too much. Crazy.
Denver's look great at home.
I mean, again, you rip out the Miami game and it's a different story.
Really?
They lost by a point to the Raiders. They lost by 2 points to the Commanders. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
They lost to the Raiders. The Raiders are horrible. They lost by 2 points to the Commanders because they hit a Hail Mary. That was a horrible game by the Broncos.
Lay the points. Good luck. Good luck with your Zach Wilson. He is back in the Mountain Time Zone. That's probably good for him. Cougars are more lenient out there. 125 on the West Coast. The Chiefs head to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. Chiefs on a back-to-back road spot here, looking ahead to that same Thursday night spot against the Broncos. 73% of the bets in on the Chiefs early. This is going to be a fun game. Numbers come down a little bit from the look ahead. 4.5 for the Chiefs, -205 in the money line. Vikings +170. 53 is the total. That ridiculous. The Vikings were due to regress coming into the year, and then they've regressed so hard that they're now due to regress back. The turnover nugget has now stretched up to 6 turnovers.
Another red zone turnover.
6 turnovers inside the 5 and 8 inside the 20.
They're actually, if you look at the net yards per play, Vikings are 3rd in the league, which is a bonkers stat.
Because they're driving down the field and then just giving the ball. They're not getting any points on these drives. They reach the 5-yard line, which is, if you look at the data, that's pretty impressive. And to have this many occurrences in only 4 football games is mind blowing. So Chiefs good. Chiefs defense good, really good.
Yeah.
This feels like it's going to be a shootout. And
I don't know. It's weird. The Chiefs have they really lit it up offensively with the? It's just
they haven't played the Vikings defense yet.
That's true.
And I think with again, with the way that Brian Flores has been playing, I would imagine he'll be beatable here.
But I mean, just look at the. Now they had 20 points at home against the Lions, 17 points against the Jags, 41 against the Bears at home. That was them lighting it up, and then 23 on the road at the Jets. This to me kind of reminds me. Now we don't have the close your eyes special angle, which is obviously clutch to something like this, but this to me has vibes of that Indianapolis Colts game last year for the Chiefs, where they're just clearly looking past an inferior opponent. This Vikings team is desperate at home. They end up maybe they end up actually squeezing out the win here, but I think this could end up being closer than the public may think.
Vikings have given up 20 points to the Bucks, 34 points to the Eagles, 28 points to the Chargers, and held the Panthers to only 13 points.
And that included a defensive touchdown.
Yeah, but the Panthers stink.
Yeah,
and so with that being the lead in, I would expect the Chiefs to put up some points. I also would expect the Vikings to put up some points. My gut reaction to this was that this number is too big, and I'm going to be on the Vikings.
I just keep looking at that Eagles Vikings game where the Eagles, especially in the second half, in control of the game, had a 2-score lead, and they just kind of walked into the end zone there as the game ended. This feels like a 28-24 game for the Chiefs. Maybe the Vikings get a little frisky, but I feel like 4.5 is a little too high. I'm going to go Vikings.
Yeah. No, I worry a little bit that this is like the square sharp side here.
It'll be interesting to see what the Vikings defense does because they base their defense on blitzing. Now nobody blitzes Patrick Mahomes, right? Because you blitz Patrick Mahomes, you're going to get torched. So are they going to still blitz? What is the counter there?
And if you're a defensive coach, the way to get back to being a head coach is by doing something to one of the gods of the game. And so if you can come out with this electric scheme to shut down Patrick Mahomes, yeah, I mean, I do think the Brian Flores thing, chip on his shoulder, matters this year. And so interesting element to this game will be how does Brian Flores augment his approach, and does it work? Because we all know he wants to prove everyone wrong and get back to that head coaching. So he's got to, all right, yeah, +4.5.
Seffi Smalls pointing out no Taylor Swift this week, so the Chiefs are losing. I guess she doesn't,
non-conference road games, not in the budget.
It's not a primetime game. I don't know. You figure she'd get like a gig at the Mall in America.
That's kind of low. Maybe she's anti.
No, this isn't primetime.
I mean, it's the late afternoon.
Okay.
I mean, it's NFL, dude. It's always prime time. What are you talking about?
Hey Ryan, you know what I'm talking about right now? Underdog fantasy. Oh no, Hall of Fame bets. That's right, Hall of Fame bets in their parlay optimizer. Love throwing out parlays, and I love hitting parlays even better than just throwing them out. Parlay bets are great. They're a ton of fun. And if you have parlay ideas, which if you're listening to the show, you probably do, you got to head over to Hall of Fame bets. Check out that parlay optimizer. Use the code SGPN. Get 50% off your first month. Stop betting in the dark and join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame bets app or visit HOFBets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame bets.
As I review our picks so far, the Vikings definitely have an opportunity to be too cute. We did even say to ourselves before the season, we weren't going to just fade the Chiefs to fade the Chiefs. No, I feel like this is the first time I'm fading the Chiefs just to fade the Chiefs. But the spot's gross. That's why I'm doing it. I understand why I'm doing it, but it also when it happens, it's gonna be too cute. All right, Sunday Night Football, big marquee matchup here. They once a long time ago played some important football games. If you're younger than 30, you probably weren't alive to remember that. But the Niners, they're laying 3.5 here at home against this Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys +145. 45 is the total, double 45 action. The number obviously screaming at us to act like the 76% of the public who has laid down a bet on the Niners, and our system of never betting on the Cowboys also suggesting to lay the 3.5 points with the Niners.
Somebody had a great tweet where they said the Cowboys head coaches are going to they're really going to be pressing Trey Lance to get the inside scoop on what makes the 49ers offense work. And someone responded, well, if he knew that, he might still be in San Francisco.
Come on.
Trey Lance is probably the last guy you want to ask to explain the 49ers offense. He's still trying to learn that playbook.
Will he be at the 50-yard line for the coin toss as a captain? Intimidation.
That would be great. Cowboys are actually really bad. And this comes from sportsgamblingpodcast.com, their NFL week 5 trends. Cowboys 1-6 against the spread in the last 7 after a blowout win. So in general, smelling themselves a little bit. I realize they did it back to back with the Giants and the Jets, but come on, that's the Giants. Oh, wow. Purdy hasn't lost a regular season start. I don't think he's lost a start where he's finished the game. Unfortunately, it didn't happen for him in the NFC Championship. I just think the Cowboys struggle with elevated competition, and in particular, this 49ers team, Shanahan really has their numbers. Christian McCaffrey has been a game changer at ATS for this team. And I think the way you exploit the Cowboys is bring some physicality, and some confusing defensive schemes. Basically the Jonathan Gannon blueprint. Now the 49ers the Cowboys won't be looking past the 49ers, but I think some of the stuff that the Cardinals did right against the Cowboys, the 49ers can do as well. Christian McCaffrey against the linebackers for the Cowboys. Cowboys linebackers are bad in coverage. I think that's going to be a big opportunity. Dallas still out with still missing Tyron Smith, who I don't know, that guy. He's in the David Bakhtiari zone where I'm just going to stop mentioning him because it feels like the guy never plays. I think Nick Bosa will have a big game for the Niners. Shocker, but yeah, Niners roll.
Expected to have rain. What happens to Dak in the rain? Hands get slippery.
Look out.
Yeah, I'm not sure who's dying to bet the Cowboys here. I mean, the last couple of times these teams have played, they've been in the playoffs. The Niners have taken care of business. I'm not looking back any further than that because I really don't care. Completely different situation. And I think honestly, I think to your point on the Cowboys are smelling themselves. This Niners team seems to be the masters of motivating themselves over nothing. And I don't know if you saw this, Sean, but there were one of the Cowboys players, more or less, was acting as if he didn't know who the 49ers were. It made it to the 49ers subreddit, so I'd imagine it made it to the locker room. These are the kind of things where, like, how do you not have the PSA where it's like, just don't have social media?
Yeah,
just don't do the social media.
It's not.
Like,
it's
look
not
at Paul Pierce.
You.
Don't do social media. What just the Paul Pierce?
Here,
rule.
can I borrow your phone? I got to do a reenactment of Paul Pierce, where he's doing the.
Do you remember when he went live with his hookers? I mean,
oh yeah, and then they asked him about it. He's like, I was just having a good time on a Friday night.
It's fair. He was not breaking any of your laws.
No, he's smoking legal weed, getting high with consenting adults. I don't know why Disney was so upset about it.
What concerns me, well, you know, those uptight. I mean, go look into what Disney was up to back in the 30s. The concern, if I'm laying the 3.5, which I'm going to with the Niners, is that Brock Purdy's Brock Purdy has been close to making some mistakes in all of the games he's played.
But also, he did only throw one incomplete pass against the Cardinals. I'm with you. I'm with you on wanting to hate on Brock Purdy.
Oh, I'm laying the points. I'm in. I'm just saying.
No, I get it.
The Dallas Cowboys defense is a little bit different than some of these other defenses they've played against. The Dallas Cowboys have played an insanely easy schedule. And so from that perspective, then you love the Niners here. And of course, the old tale as old as time. You lay the 3.5 before you take it. Last one, Monday Night Football. Packers coming off Thursday. So this is the second week in a row where a team playing Monday night had the mini bye. Didn't help the Giants last week. Packers also looking ahead to their bye week. They're laying a point here on the road in Las Vegas, -115 on the money line. Vegas -105. 45 is the total. I mean,
I'm mad at myself for backing Josh McDaniels last week. The guy just really sucks as a head coach. And it was a classic suck off between him and Brandon Staley. And Brandon Staley did everything he could
we were the right
to
spot.
help the Raiders cover that game, and the fuckers wouldn't do it.
We were the right side.
Green Bay in the Matt LaFleur era is the best since 2019, the best team ATS after a loss, 14-5. That's not nothing.
Is that a LaFleur trend or a Aaron Rodgers trend?
Well, I mean, there's a couple.
Little A, little B.
There's some Jordan Love games in there. I mean, they're 3-1 ATS so far this season. It depends how you grade that Falcons game.
Devontae Adams revenge spot.
Yeah.
Does that matter?
But is he there's no one really left, and
the fans are pissed off at Mark Davis.
Oh, that was great. Where they're yelling at him. I think the thing that really matters, Jair Alexander back at practice for the Packers. So if you're thinking of even slowing down Devontae Adams and the Raiders, you got to have that guy there. I'm guessing Jimmy G is going to play, but who knows with these new concussion protocols where they actually make you sit out.
Seems like everyone misses the game now.
Yeah. Aaron Jones, Christian Watson, they were on a snap count that previous Thursday night game. They're not anymore. This is also a spot where the opposing team is going to have the majority of the fans. And we saw how the Raiders, this feels a lot like the Steelers.
Oh my God.
This feels a lot like the Steelers Raiders.
We'll have to check in with the full report. I wonder how many folks will be getting there for the full weekend of festivities.
Well,
but
Ryan,
Friday night we'll be out there.
we'll be there Friday night at Circa. And breaking news. We're going to be doing a segment called Everyone Loves Dogs, where you tweet us your photo of your dog and your favorite moneyline dog for the Sunday, a Monday, or even the Thursday slate. So stay tuned to our X account at Gambling Podcast and reply to that tweet, and we'll be featuring our favorite dogs on the show.
X
gonna give it to you.
Yeah,
this is just, to me, LaFleur is, as much as he's not Bill Belichick in his prime, I think he's a much better coach than Josh McDaniels. Jordan Love could screw this up for us, but I'm on the Packers here.
Yeah, have to be. I think you nailed it. I think they're also getting some. I think they're going to be the healthiest we've seen them all season, other than the first game. Other than Bakhtiari, he's done for the year.
Yes, thankfully.
I'm
not talking about him anymore.
He's retired from all surfaces. One more. Teams heading into a bye off of Monday Night Football. Strangely, Sean, normally I wouldn't point out nonsensical trends that don't mean anything, but this one feels a little bit stronger than that. Since '96, teams heading into the bye off Monday Night Football, 26-12 ATS.
So that would be
the Packers.
Okay,
because they're heading to their bye.
All right,
it's good for us, Sean. That's why I'm saying it.
Okay,
that's what we use trends.
Bad trend.
That's what we use trends for, right? We want to make sure we're reinforcing the data we just stated with facts. All right,
time for the Lock Dog Tease.
Happy birthday.
You want me to go first? You've been going first. All right, I guess I can go first.
Okay, cool.
You went first last week.
Don't think so. No, because we had this conversation, and then I ended up going second.
Okay, are you sure?
100%.
Okay.
Confirm in the chat who went first with the Lock Dog Tease.
This happens every week.
Yeah, and I feel like you're wrong every week.
Well, I'm pretty sure I would have taken. All right, I'll happily go first. I know you're trying to mess up my sweet streak.
No, you were 2-0 in your locks last week. I was trying to set you up, Ryan. I was trying to be a good teammate. If you want to tempt the mojo,
yeah, you should go first.
Okay.
I don't tempt mojo. Mojo's not a thing I do. Mojo's the name of Deshaun Watson. That's why his shoulders hurting.
Oh, is that his?
Mojo was a little too strong on the muscles.
I'm not touching Deshaun Watson.
All right,
that'd be great if his masseuse was named Mojo. You got your mojo back, Deshaun?
All right, locks. Let's do it. San Francisco, much better team.
Wow.
-3.5.
Pew pew pew.
Dallas sucks. There's some. Detroit to me is almost lock worthy.
It's a gross week, isn't it?
Because of how bad Carolina is. I don't like laying a big number in a lock, but man, that Panthers offense just cannot put up points.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. Give me Detroit. I'm sure it's a public side, but lock for my dogs. Here are the dogs in contention: Jets, Steelers, Houston, Jags.
Nothing but the hits.
I do want to play Houston to kind of rub it in your face, but
there's that team.
I've done bad.
Team player.
I've done bad when I've put Pittsburgh. Let me see. I'm gonna go back and check. So I had Tennessee in the money line. Oh, I had Pittsburgh week 1 money line. Or no, I had them in the dogs in the lock spot. I've not. I just want to make sure I have not. Oh, I did play them week 3 money line, and that hit against the Raiders. This feels like a decent spot for them on the money line as well. But man, I like those Jets.
Oh no.
Give me the Jets.
Oh no. What? All right. This got weird. Got very weird.
Small dog in honor of my dog Garth.
You've been doing well with the small dogs. I'd keep it up.
For my tees, Houston +8. That's pretty easy. Also tie in Steelers +10. I mean, in an AFC North game, that is very tease worthy. And then the Saints up to 7, who I also really like. Possibly lock consideration, but just outside. Kramer, what do you got? I mean, you could just lock up the close your eyes special. That's what producer Josh did, and that's a very good strategy.
Yeah, and I certainly don't hate the. I will say the close your eyes specials are just they're glorious shit this week, and I don't know if I want to get involved with locking any of that up. Here's what I'll do. I'll compromise. First off, I do think the flow chart in the AFC South has been very strong lately.
I've been in love with the Titans. I like this play.
I do think I'm slightly worried about the Titans' inability to move the ball, but based on the stuff I've looked at, I don't even like. I know you were citing some run numbers that are good for the Colts, but I actually think the Titans are gonna be able to move the ball here, and was diving into the deep analytics for the old fantasy, and I wouldn't be surprised. This could be a D-Hop maybe explodes here. He's kind of been close. All right, so Titans will lock up first for my dog. I'm gonna go out of order here. Mix up the old gambling gods. I kind of considered putting them into the lock category, but with the way that I think I have to take the money line here because I don't want to be involved in a Kirk Cousins close game. So give me the Vikings.
Oh wow, shocking the world.
+170. My dogs haven't been great.
You like that?
But that seems like the right one. And for my my second lock, Sean. Actually, you know what? Let's do the tease first. Give me the Saints up to 7.
Okay.
Gonna play by the rules. Give me the Mitch Trubisky. 10 points is plenty, right? Give me the Steelers up to 10. And I'll do it. Give me the Lions down to 3.5. It screwed me last week. It teased down to 3.5, but I'm with you. I don't see how the Panthers keep pace here.
They're so bad.
Yeah. Second lock.
Producer Josh. That's why he gets the. That's why he's a legendary producer. He made a note on the sheet. Sean picked first, so we avoid having that dynamic conversation on air next week.
Wow, you're really angry at the podcast tonight, Sean. I don't understand why.
You've been angry all day. Came in slamming doors.
What do you mean slamming doors? Sometimes you got to have a little emotion when you're
Came
talking about the National Football League. All right, lock number 2. Pretty simple here. We're just going to zoom over to Monday Night Football. I think the Packers get all the way back.
Love it.
I think the Packers are going to look healthy. And look, I know it's fun to laugh at social media, but for the owner to respond, I mean, it's one thing for Evan Neal to get upset and tell the fans that they're flipping burgers and hot dogs. It's another for the owner who's at a football game where people yell and get drunk to start responding to people. Oops, little spillage there. To start responding to people. I mean, I'll give him. I have
no idea what anyone's saying.
So they're saying fire McDaniels, and he's saying you need to smarten up. So on so many levels,
well, he's telling a Raiders fan to smarten up. I mean, that you're going to lose your fan base, Mark Davis.
On so many levels, it's an amazing moment. But shout out to him for sitting so open. Feels like a sniper is about to take him out there. It's a bad look. This is what happened, and I should have brought this up when we were talking about the game. He had this interaction with the fans, and then guess what? We haven't heard about it yet. I think there was a closed door meeting this week.
Ryan, great comment. Real quick to go back to James in the chat. You made the Vikings your dog, and he said, "Can you imagine the narrative if the Chiefs lose without Taylor in the building? That would be. Oh my god! That might break the internet, as the kids say."
I mean, there is a version of this game where the Vikings move the ball like they have the entire season and don't turn the ball over in the red zone and put a little pressure on the Chiefs offense, a lot like their divisional foe, the Lions, which, ultimately got the dub and not a shootout.
Circus Survivor. We're going with the Detroit Lions.
Staying the course. There's not even a conversation, right?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I guess we could talk about the Dolphins, but we already used them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, not cute this season. Just go with the obvious plays. It'll be interesting. I'm sure they'll be the most popular play, but yeah, I don't know. Kind of, it'll be. I guess who would you guess would be the second most popular Survivor play, Ryan?
Miami.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If people didn't use them, sure.
I think there a lot. I mean, I don't think we were too popular the week we took them. So.
All right, here we go. Circa millions. We got the Titans. We got the Packers. We got the 49ers. We got the Lions.
Vikings.
Yeah. Really?
That would be my 2
2
cents.
Yeah, I guess we've lost enough money on the Steelers. That was going to be my other one.
Oh, come on, Sean. We get them being a close your eyes special is perfect. And honestly,
I'll just bet them and not include them in the contest.
The close your eyes special being a 2 out of 3 trend is also perfect because one of these fucking things are going to lose this week.
Yep. All right.
Too hot.
Titans, Packers, 49ers, Lions, and the Vikings. That'll do it for the Circa Millions. Hey, tune in. We got our props show after Thursday Night Football. Give out our favorite NFL Week 5 props, and then Friday nights we will be live doing a bunch of shows, doing a couple of shows at the Blue Wire Studio at the Wynn there, and then our Friday night VSiN show, 9:00 Pacific. Get that over at vsin.com, YouTube TV, or on radio. There are a bunch of radio stations that play VSiN as well. And then our Everybody Loves Dogs segment. You'll see that at Gambling Podcast. Respond to that with your favorite money line dogs. Kramer,
thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, second the money green. He's Ryan.
Dog.
Kramer, let it ride.